Welcome back to the Pod of Thrones continuing forever coverage of San Diego Comic-Con 2018. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jennifer.
We're 2 weeks from Comic-Con. It's been over for a while. It just takes a while to get all this stuff done. We have day jobs, you know, people. And kids, of course, on top of that. Speaking of which, we do have a special guest joining us today, and I'm going to say why first. So we're going to talk about the Kevin Smith Hall H panel. Kevin used to do this every year, and then last year, our first year at San Diego Comic-Con was like the first year in forever that he didn't do it, which was a big bummer for me. But this year, he came back, and he came back to talk about a project he's working on, Hollyweed, and he talked about his heart attack, and then he brought out some guests, friends from The Flash, but we'll talk about them in a bit, to show a little short film. And through all of this, so on Kevin Smith's feed, if you happen to subscribe to Smodcast, this has been up for like a week now, at least. He already posted the audio himself. But for anyone that is not familiar with the Kevin Smith story, I think there's great cautionary tales of what it's like to have a heart attack. I think his new project is interesting enough to plug. The other things we're going to talk about, I think it's all great stuff. And I don't know what the cross section here is between our audience and his audience. So I'm reposting this anyway. But on top of that, we have a special guest with us today, possibly entertained, maybe horribly scarred by the whole experience. And that is Jennifer's son, Gage. Say hi, Gage.
Hello.
So Gage joined us for Comic-Con this year. And I guess one of the really cool things about Comic-Con, we could say, is that they do like kids under 12 or 12 and under in for free, which was good because everything kind of happened in a hurry. So Gage joined us for Comic-Con, saw a lot of different stuff. And I don't know if anything could quite compare to the Kevin Smith experience. Gage, were you familiar with Kevin Smith before Comic-Con?
Yes.
Where do you know him from?
Some of my video games.
Okay. Oh, a TV show?
Yes.
Which show?
Comic Book Men.
Right. And every once in a while when we watch something like The Goldbergs, I'll talk about like, oh, this is the episode Kevin Smith directed. I'm a big fan. But most of the time I don't share his works with you kids because, well, any guesses why? Now that you've seen him in person?
Yes.
Do you want to share that guess?
Not really.
Okay. Well, Kevin curses a lot, talks a lot about things that we might consider inappropriate for young children. But there we were in Hall H, babe.
Yes.
How did you feel? Did you know what to expect from a live Kevin Smith event?
Well, the Kevin Smith live events that I've seen have been the ones at like the college. I really like watching his talks that he gives at the universities. It's not really a stand-up. It's kind of like a tales of Kevin Smith.
It's a little interactive with his audience, but it is also very similar to kind of stand-up comedy. It's like long-form stand-up.
That's what I like. I like stories. I don't like... I mean, I do like stand-up. I just like this better. I like this format better. And those aren't quite as cursy, but they are inappropriate still most of the time. He talks a lot about asses, things like that.
Okay. But
it doesn't get quite as raw as this was.
Yes.
I think this was more raw than I've ever seen him before.
Well, it was a life-changing experience for him, right? Having a heart attack, almost dying. So,
of course, yes.
Yeah. So I couldn't help but notice, Gage, that you were on your phone a lot less than any other Hall H panel, and you were laughing a lot.
Yeah.
What did you think of Kevin's story of his heart attack where he almost died?
It was funny.
Was it like scary because he almost died? You're speechless. Okay.
Well, did you know he had a heart attack? Had you heard that before?
No.
Oh, okay. I guess I don't talk about all that stuff. I mean, I might have started crying in front of the kids. And was Kevin going to be okay? Was all the cussing upsetting?
No.
Okay. No? You're just funny?
Yeah.
You're at that age now? It's just funny to see some adult talk about horrible things and say the worst words. He's just looking at me. Okay. Any questions for him, babe?
Well, what did you like the best about it? What did you find most funny?
Probably the Flash commercial thing.
The Flash. Okay, so this whole thing came in 3 parts. What we're going to hear what we'll hear first is Kevin getting an Inkpot Award. I think I captured that audio. That is something that they give out every year at Comic-Con for people that are big contributors, big parts of the Comic-Con world. Not necessarily comic books. They'll give, this is a whole pop culture convention now. Kev has written some comic books, but just pop culture in general. So they thought he was deserving of an award. He was very touched. It was nice to see. But then he tells the story of his heart attack. And then we see the first episode of a show called Hollyweed. Remember that, Gage?
Yes.
Was that funny?
Kind of.
Maybe less funny? There's probably a lot of stuff there you didn't quite get. And I'm okay with that. Was that uncomfortable as a parent, babe?
It was slightly uncomfortable, but I got the feeling that a lot of it was kind of just over
his head.
His head, right? A certain age group just won't get it. So it was kind of okay. Much like when we used to watch shows when we were kids that were highly inappropriate, like Three's Company.
Yeah.
They weren't cursing, but the innuendo in it was really strong. And I don't know. It it just kind of perpetuated that along the road. And I think that's why we got into a lot of trouble later years with, I won't get political.
Okay. Well, the pilot, if you haven't seen it yet, I'll put a link in the show notes. It's rivet.tv. So that's a new network. It's kind of like Kickstarter, but specifically for TV shows. So the budgets are huge. And to be honest, so far it's not looking great for Hollyweed. They've got like a few weeks left in the campaign, but it's a lot of money. So they still need a lot of pledges. So you should go watch the pilot. You get to watch the pilot for free and then decide if you think the show is worth funding. Do you think we should fund the show, Gage? Should we try to help make more Hollyweed?
Sure.
Okay, sure. Well, good. But it was definitely not a family show. It's not a family sitcom. It involved, of course, a marijuana store and a delivery to an adult movie set. That's all I'm going to say there. And some other crimes and misdemeanors. But it was funny. It was funny. Kevin Smith, Jay Muse, Donna Rollins. He's actually the secondary co-star, Ralph Garman, who we're fans of here in this house. He had a significant role as well. So it's a funny show, rivet.tv. Go check that out. And then the final part involved Grant Gustin and Tom
Cavanagh.
That's right. Tom Cavanagh. So they're both from Flash. That's how they know each other. And that's how Kevin knows them, because he's gone and worked on the Flash and he's a big fan of the show anyway, but he's also directed some episodes. They came out during his Hall H thing here to show a short movie they made called Tom and Grant. How would you describe what it's about? Gage, you want to try?
It's about these criminals that keep messing up.
Okay. 2 guys that want to rob a bank, but they don't want to rob the bank. They want someone else to do it for them.
Well, don't spoil it.
Well, that's in the first 3 seconds of the show.
Okay, but still, it's pretty funny. It was hilarious, I thought. Yeah,
it was really, really funny. Not at all what I would have expected.
It was like was it a whole one reel? It was like, yeah.
It's a short film. It was 20, 25 minutes?
Well, I mean, it was all them talking.
Oh. Well, it definitely wasn't like one take or anything. They cut plenty when they were singing in the car.
It felt like it was all one take. It was so funny.
But yeah, very funny, and very just strange and different and interesting. And it takes place in this car almost entirely. Yeah, worth seeing. And unfortunately, I don't know how you can see it. There's a website, tomandgrant.com, and I'll put that link in the show notes too. But as of right now, you cannot watch it there even for purchase. There's no way to see this. I'm not sure when that's going to change, but keep an eye out for it. Watch the preview, watch the trailer for it that's on their website. And then hopefully it'll be out for wide release soon.
Probably at the Indie Films or something. Though.
Yeah, well, they've taken it to some festivals already. Yeah. So, Gage, should we get that for home viewing when it comes available?
Definitely.
And share it with the rest of the family?
Yes.
Okay. So that's it. So it's a packed, it was, I don't even know, 3 hours or something that we were in Hall H. It was crazy long. But it was a lot of fun, lots of laughs. By the end of it, we definitely needed to stretch and go to the bathroom.
They were giving them signs, Mr. Smith, please stop. Because he was going on and on.
They needed to clear out the room. Okay, there's some whispering happening right now. I think Gage has something to say, but he doesn't want to say it out loud.
Oh, yes. So after the show, we went back to our hotel, just Gage and I, because Jeff was out partying all night or something.
Not exactly.
And we ate dinner at the restaurant hotel. And then as we're walking out, here comes Tom Cavanagh walking around, just talking to some guy at Starbucks. Yeah, he was going into Starbucks. And so we got to get a good picture with him. It was really exciting.
Didn't
and he
you
was
say
so
he
nice.
Approached you?
He approached us because we were just standing there like dummies. I didn't want to. I didn't want to interrupt. We were just kind of lurking. And so he's like, "Hey, buddy, you a Flash fan?" And we're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, yeah, I am."
We've seen some Flash, but it was not a big hit in this house, so we haven't pursued it deeply.
No,
look, I know you like it, Gage, but not everybody was really into it, so we just haven't watched it en masse.
Right. But I think we will now, for sure. What did you think about meeting him?
It was fun.
Yeah. Did you think he was nice?
Yeah.
He was really nice. He's a good guy.
Seems like it. Yeah. I wish I had been there. Your night was better than mine. But that's a story for another day. Maybe, or maybe not. It's all over my Twitter if you look it up. Okay, I think that's it. Gage, thank you for joining us. Say goodbye to your new fans.
Goodbye.
All right, so enjoy Kevin Smith. We got Inkpot. We got Kev talking about Heart Attack. We got Kev talking about Hollyweed. And then we got Tom and Grant. And of course, there's no recordings of the audio of the things we watched on the screen. That's not allowed. So just look for the links in the show notes so you can see what we're talking about. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See a lot of Kevin Smith faces out there. This is great. Just a word of warning. He is unfiltered. So if a little language is something you're afraid of, probably not the place to be right now. And I can probably say that maybe some of the things are shown potentially the same way. So just be prepared for it. But as always, he's honest and he tells it like it is. And I appreciate that. So at this time, it is my pleasure to bring out Kevin Smith. So normally this is where I would turn the mic over to Kevin, but there's a little something else I have to do before we do that. Kevin is one of probably the first people of fame that I've ever interacted with, and I remember when I did, he was just so down to earth. He treated me with respect. He had a genuine interest in who I was, and I was just a person who was putting a panel on. And I always appreciated that. Because one of the things that I always enjoy being able to do at this moment, which is I'm going to be giving Kevin Smith an Inkpot. Honestly, I think that this is an amazing and perfect moment to do this because he is someone that has, and I think all of you will agree, has contributed to our pop culture fandom, has contributed to the things that we love. One of the things I love about what Kevin Smith does is he's funny. But he's funny in a way that doesn't make us feel like we're dorks or we don't deserve to have fun. He laughs with us. And I know that sounds contrite, but he really does. He laughs with us. He doesn't make fun of us. And he points out those funny moments that fandom has, because we all know we can be a little odd at times. And it's okay to point that out, but do it in a way that is honest and heartfelt. And that's what he does, always. And the excitement that he has for comics and film and television. I mean, just think of the moments where he got interviewed for getting to direct an episode of The Flash. You know what I mean? Like, he was just so excited. And one of the things they always say is never, never meet your heroes. Kevin Smith is one of those heroes that you will be honored and always want to meet. So, Kevin, on behalf of Comic-Con International, it is my pleasure to present you the Inkpot for films and television. And thank you so much for being part of our family.
Thank you so much. Oh, please give it up for Eddie. This is amazing, man. You know, I love this organization. I love this place, but this seriously means a lot. I literally almost cried. I don't win awards anymore. So this is a huge thing for me, man. It's going right in a place of honor because this is the beginning of my annual calendar year. It always starts with Comic-Con International. So thank you. That fucking meant the world to me, man. Thank you. It's all downhill from here, man. Fuck, that's awesome. Oh my God, I almost bawled. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out, man. And welcome to Comic-Con 2018. This just threw me. Oh my God, I'm so fucking touched. You have no idea how slobberingly grateful I am to receive this. Had I known, I would have tried dying a lot fucking sooner. Good Lord. I'm pleased to be here on the Hall H stage. Just earlier today, Jason Momoa was up here as well, and he dropped the Aquaman trailer, which if you haven't seen, it will make you wet. I don't know what else to say. It is fucking phenomenal, man. I couldn't believe I got to see sharks with armor and stuff like that. It was religious for me. I've been watching it over and over and over again, and now, usually people come into All H and see a trailer for a DC movie and they're like, I can't wait, and 6 months later like, fuck you. That's not gonna happen this time. I think James Wan has cracked the fucking code. That movie looks amazing. I can't wait to give him all my money. It is very special for me to be here, ladies and gentlemen, because I quite like my character from Clerks. I'm not supposed to be here today. A couple months ago, I did have what they call a health scare, what I call a massive fucking heart attack. And it happened very by surprise. Came out of nowhere. I was shooting some specials for Showtime, shooting 2 comedy specials that I was going to do. It turned into 1 comedy special, meant to be 2 separate shows. And we did the first show. It was supposed to be an hour, and then it wound up going 2 hours and stuff. Got off stage, felt fine, had some milk. I was a big dairy drinker back then. I used to fucking drink a lot of milk, but I'm vegan now. I used to be happy, now I'm a fucking vegan. Back then, I was drinking a lot of fucking milk, so I came off stage, pounded some milk and whatnot, felt like I'd killed on stage. I was like, oh my God, I had them dying. I had no idea what was next. So I say hi to some people, go to the Green Moon, started feeling ill, and chase folks out of the room and stuff like that, because when I'm sick, I don't want to be around people. I'm like an animal. I just want to go off and die alone and shit. So I was like, can I have the room? And I felt, I never do this. I threw up, and it wasn't chunky, oh, there's my lunch. It was just bile and stuff like that. It was weird. It was a symptom that I didn't know was indicative of what was to come and stuff. So I started getting really cold, sweating profusely, but I sweat when I fucking breathe, so that's not a symptom either. And then finally I was like, can you guys find me a couch? I think I should lay down before the next show. It might be good to catch some fucking Z's and stuff. So they found me a couch. I went into the couch, tried to lay down, couldn't fucking get comfortable to save my life. Was just and I could sleep anywhere, and I was trying to lay down, couldn't do it. Finally, I couldn't catch my breath. I could breathe, but I just couldn't go to the top and catch my breath. So I sat up in the chair. Instead of laying on the couch, I just sat up, and then I put my hands up to try to facilitate easier breathing. I don't know. In moments like that, you're like, yeah, I'm a doctor, do this. self-diagnosing like a motherfucker. So I'm sitting there in the chair with my arms up and whatnot. And Jordan Monsanto, who's Jason Muse's wife, she runs our company. She was like, how you feeling? I said, I feel weird. I never feel sick, and I feel really sick. And she's like, I've never seen you sick. This is kind of scary and stuff. I said, maybe we should call off the second show tonight. And she goes, we already did. I was like, why'd you fucking call off the second show? And she's like, I've never seen you sick. It's really scary and stuff. I was like, all right, do we go to a doctor? What do people do in situations like this? And she was like, there's no doctor. It's a Sunday night. You can't go to the doctors. And she's like, we called an ambulance. I was like, why the fuck did you do that? This is going to be embarrassing. They're going to get here, take one look at me with a flashlight and be like, he just smoked too much weed. That's all this is. So she's like, they're here now. I said, what the fuck? And I'm sitting in the chair with my arms up. And whenever you call the medic, fire department comes with them. They came first. 6 brawny-ass fucking firemen come through the door. Some of them on the younger end of the scale and shit. And they looked at me and recognized me kind of and shit. And they were looking at each other like, why is Silent Bob celebrating a touchdown? You know, what's going on here? I said, hey, how are you? And then the medics came in, man. It was a guy and girl, the Bobbsey twins and shit. She had a tackle box with leads in it and stuff, a little monitor. And he instantly puts a cuff on me. He's like, Mr. Smith, how you feeling? And I was like, Mr. Smith's my father. And he's like, I've heard that joke. And so I said, I feel fine. I don't feel bad. I just can't really catch my breath. I don't know what it is. I've been nauseous. I threw up a little bit and stuff. I'm really cold and I'm sweating, but I sweat when I breathe and stuff. So I don't know. It's just, I feel weird. He goes, well, we're going to put a cuff on you right now. He goes, and she's going to work on you with the wires and stuff. I said, hello. And she said, hi. And I'm sitting in the chair, and this was like, nearly 50 pounds ago and stuff. So I'm sitting in the chair with a lot going on under my hockey jerseys. And then she lifts out of nowhere. She's got these wires. She grabs my hockey jersey and lifts it up because she's going to put the wires on me. And every titty I had fell out, I was like, and I pull it right down. She's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I was like, Dad, you fucking just pulled my shirt up, man. I don't fucking take my shirt off in the shower. Like, I said, that dude, that's my best friend's wife and shit. She's never seen my tits. I've never seen my tits. Like, don't do that. She's like, we got to get these wires on you because they monitor you and stuff. I said, look, I'll work with you, man. I'm going to pull my hockey jersey out and then you just like reach under there and start connecting. Use my nipples as guideposts, I guess, and find a place and stick them on. And she goes, we ain't got time for this. And I was like, this is the best I could do. She's all right. She's fishing around up there and shit like that. Meanwhile, the dude's doing my blood pressure. And he goes, hey, Kev, do me a favor. Open your mouth. I said, okay, I'll open my mouth. And he goes, lift up your tongue. And I did that. And he goes, I'm going to put this in your mouth. So just put it right under your tongue. Here you go. And he sprayed some shit in my mouth. And he goes, okay, you're good. And he goes back to checking my blood pressure. And I just sat there going like, this is so counterintuitive to like everything I was taught by my parents. Like as a child, they were like, if a stranger ever tells you to open your mouth and put this in it, like, you fucking say no. But because he was wearing a uniform, I was like, So he put these drops under my tongue. He's looking at my blood pressure, and he looks at the lady medic, and she looks at him and shit. He goes, hey, Mr. Smith, you mind taking a ride with us? I was like, what? Where are we going? He goes, I think we should take a visit to the hospital. I said, hospital? Oh, come on. Why would you do that? And he's going, it's just to be safe. It's close. Rather safe than sorry and stuff like that. I know it's an inconvenience, but it'll be quick. We just like to cross all the T's and dot all the I's and stuff. You ever been to a hospital before? I said, I've visited people, but I've never been a patient. He goes, oh, you're going to have a great time. And I was like, really? Because I've never heard it sold like that before. He goes, oh, it's fantastic. He's going, you get to ride in an ambulance to get there. Have you ever ridden in an ambulance? And I was like, well, no, I haven't, actually. So he's like, oh, we'll use the siren. Everything's going to be great. And I was like, all right, man, I guess. It's a little embarrassing, but fucking let's do it and stuff. What do we do? How do we get there? And he goes, all right, I need you to get out of this chair, and we're going to put you over in this chair. They have this other chair that turns into, like, a gurney and shit. It's like a transformer for the hospital and shit, to put it in the terms of Comic-Con. So I'm sitting in the chair, and he goes, we got to get you over to that chair. And so, all right, I get up and stuff. He goes, whoa, sit down. You can't go anywhere. You got wires on you. And I was like, well, you told me to get in the chair. And he goes, oh, we'll get you over there. And he goes, boys. And that's when the fucking firemen came into play, man. 6 firemen came over, stuck their hands under me, and lifted my fat ass like I didn't exist, and put me in the other chair. It was like, boom. And it was the most fun I'd had in 10 years. Oh my God, it was so pleasurable. Nobody picks you up when you become an adult and shit. And I was a pretty heavy-set adult. Nobody even fucking tries. So I've forgotten what it was like to be picked up and stuff. So I was like, wee, and got to the chair. And so then they wheeled me out and up to the top and where the ambulance is waiting and shit. Now, there were people that were getting ready to see the second show. And so they were all lined up. I guess they were told something. So nobody fucking said, nobody knew what was going on, so nobody knew what to say. But they knew I threw up. And then all of a sudden Jordan was like, we gotta cancel the show. So I guess somebody put two and two together and came up with food poisoning. And I think that's what they told the audience at the second show. We gotta call the show off. He has food poisoning. And I'm sure most of the audience was like, he's been poisoning himself with food for years. Like, why is tonight any different? So they were still like standing outside. So as I was being wheeled out into the ambulance, a bunch of them see me and they're like, hey, God, give him hell and shit like that, as if I'm fighting something. And so, you know, I'm waving and shit. And then there's one guy behind the gate in the crowd who I guess, you know, they were told that I was sick. So he was going like this. He was going, ah. But I didn't know they told him that. So I didn't understand what the fuck he was saying and shit. And I was like, are you telling me to suck your dick while I'm getting in an ambulance? Like, have you no decency, sir? So they put me in the ambulance, we go to the hospital, and it was weird. They took me to a hospital that wasn't even on the call sheet. When you're in production, we were shooting the specials that night. There's a call sheet. It tells, you know, everyone's phone number, the times are supposed to be there, all pertinent emergency information, including the nearest hospital. And the hospital on the call sheet was not the one that we went to. We wound up going to a hospital called Glendale Adventist. The one we were supposed to go to was much closer to the theater we were playing at. But the medics knew what the fuck was going on. They didn't tell me, why bother? They knew what was going on and made the judgment call. They're like, fuck going to that other hospital. We're going to take him to Adventist. Now, Glendale Adventist just happens to be the second best cardiology hospital in North America. There's one in New York that's really great. Then there's fucking this one, man. So thank Christ, those medics were like, let's take him to the place where he might live. Give it up for all the first responders. They bring me to Glendale Adventist, man. They fucking wheel me in and shit. And then all of a sudden I go from one gurney. They got to put me on the hospital gurney because the ambulance owns that gurney. They're like, we're not giving it away and shit. So we wheel in. And then it's 6 brawny nurses that come over and fucking pick my ass up and put me on the gurney and stuff. That's more fun than the last one and shit. So I'm sitting there. And that's when I meet my savior. Like, you know, we all come here to the con and talk about fucking superheroes and shit. And people put on uniforms and try to help and save lives. I met one that night. He was a doctor. And he was wearing a doctor coat and shit like that. He comes in, his name's Dr. Leidenheim, which in the world of comic books would probably mean he's a supervillain or something like that. Dr. Leidenheim comes in and goes, hey, how are you? I'm Dr. Leidenheim and stuff. I say, hey man, how are you? I'm Kevin. He goes, well, how you feeling, Kevin? You're here. There must be a problem. I said, yeah, I can't quite catch my breath. I don't know what's going on and stuff. So they suggested we come to the hospital. I'm going to be honest with you, doc. Smoked a lot of weed today. I think that's what this is. And stuff. He goes, well, how are you feeling? What's your pain right now? He's looking at my charts. What's your pain level? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, between like a 0 and 10. How do you feel? Give me a number of pain. How bad do you feel? And I said, -3. And he goes, oh, you're doing this all wrong. And I said, what am I doing wrong? He goes, the heart attack. You're in the middle of a massive heart attack. You should feel a little pain. And that's the first time that anyone had said it to me. And it never occurred to me, you know, and I literally fought the doctor for a minute, not physically, but I was like, oh, no, I'm not having a heart attack. I'm fucking 47. And he goes, who went to med school? I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, why do you think they brought you in? I was like, they told me it was just to check me out. He's like, that's how they lie to you. That's how they get you in here. And it's a good thing they brought you in here, because if what's going on is what I think's going on, I'm telling you, we got to move really, really fast. So I'm going to see you upstairs in the OR, okay? I said, all right, good seeing you and stuff. And he's walking out, and another guy walks in with a plastic bucket. And he got like a shaver in the bucket. And he comes into your little cubicle in the ER and shit. There's people all around and whatnot. there are Jordans there and whatnot. People who worked on the production, the folks that are just there with other bigger emergencies, nurses and shit. Room full of fucking people and shit. This guy comes in with a bucket and a shaver, and he goes, "Okay, you're going to the OR." I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Dr. Leidenheim, in order to get to your heart, he's going to cut into your groin and go up through your femoral. So basically, we got to shave your groin. So can you take off your jorts?" So I was like, all right, yeah, totally, I could do that. And fucking I took off my jorts and shuffled them down, left my underwear on and stuff. And my man's looking at me all expectantly like, come on, keep going and shit. And I was like, what's up? And he goes, well, you need to take your underwear off too. I said, what? Why? And he goes, well, because I got to shave your groin. And I was like, well, what's the groin to you? You know? And he goes, well, it's the area, you know, between your leg and your body. The groin, man, the groin. And I was like, okay, well, here, man, what I'll do is I'll pull the underwear to the side. And then you get in there and give me a virgin smoothie, man, or, you know, fucking nice landing strip or whatever, and then I'll pull this over here, you do that same thing over there, and then we'll be done. He goes, we don't have time for this. Can you please take your underwear off and shit? And I was like, let me tell you something, bro. That guy just came in here. He just told me for the first time in my life, I'm having a heart attack. And if you make me take my underwear off in front of all these people, I will have a second fucking heart attack. And that's gonna be on you, because my dick is fucking small, man. I said, I got a very fucking small dick and it's covered with a lot of Jabba-like fat and shit. So the idea of taking this shit off, I was like, I just can't do it. Like, I'm scared of very few things in life. Number one is death. Number two is anyone except my wife seeing my dick. And right now, when you enter a hospital, the chances of both those things happening increases exponentially. So I can't do it, man. You're gonna have to work around me here. And he goes, okay, just pull him to the side and shit. Shut up. And so I open up and he fucking shaves me here and he shaves me here and he goes, all right, let's go. And they wheel me up to the fucking operating room. And I get into the operating room, they wheel me in and shit. There's Dr. Leidenheim. The first thing he fucking says is, why does this man have his underwear on? And then the guy who's shaving me, he goes, he said you don't want to take him off because he's got like body image issues and shit like that. I turned to the doctor, I was like, yeah, doc, my dick is really small, man. And I don't want people. And he's looking at me baffled and he goes, we don't have time for this. And he yanks my panties off me, man. Just grabbed him like I was in a 70s porno and yanked that shit off, man. And I instantly went to cover and shit. And I'm wearing a hockey jersey still. So I'm like pulling my hockey jersey down. And he goes, get his hockey jersey off. And I'm starting to like realize, oh shit, I'm getting close to getting naked. And that never fucking happens and shit. And I'm worried. I'm still worried. Even though we're in the OR, man, I know it's like fucking a hospital. And there are a bunch of people walking around. And whenever you go to the hospital, people are like, we're too busy saving lives to think about the size of people's dicks. But people are fucking people, man. And at the end of the day, I don't give a shit if somebody's dying. If somebody with the world's smallest dick got wheeled in, you'd be like, holy shit, like, I gotta take a picture of that. And so it increases more if they're like, that's Silent Bob's dick? Holy shit, you know? So I'm trying to stay clad and shit. But meanwhile, what I don't know is they're starting to drug me. Nobody told me that, man. Like, they're popping wires into me and cutting into me, but I had no idea that they were sticking drugs into me and shit like that. The whole time I thought I wasn't on drugs. Like, when the operation was done, they wheeled me out, and my wife, Jennifer, was there, and she's like, oh my God, are you okay? And I was like, I feel great. I was like, if that's a heart attack, give me 5 more. You know? And she goes, what do you want, drugs? And I said, no, they didn't give me anything in there. I'm sober. Can you believe this shit? And the doctor is right behind me, and he says to my wife, he's on fentanyl right now. So they had started pumping me full of fucking fentanyl and shit. So I'm getting drugged, and they don't want to put you out. They want to put you in twilight, a sense of like, you know, you could still answer their questions. They gotta talk to you, but you can't feel the pain and shit. So they don't knock you out. They just keep you like drugged up. But I didn't feel drugged up because I was fucking stoned. So I just felt like, oh, I'm still stoned. How pleasant and shit. So as they're drugging me up, man, the doctor goes, take his fucking hockey jersey off. And so I start lying, even though like I'm fucking drugged and I'm almost dying. I have the presence of mind to craft a fucking story to try to keep my hockey jersey on. So what I say to the doctor, he goes, take that off. I said, no, I need to keep this on. This is my lucky hockey jersey. And I I need it if I'm going to have this operation and shit. But I was just desperate to hold on to it to cover my dick, you know, that's it, and shit like that. And the doctor or nobody in the room had the presence of mind to be like, if it's so lucky, why are you having a fucking heart attack and shit? The doctor didn't care. He goes, pull it off. And fucking 2 dudes pull my clothes off. And I'm just laying there in the fucking emergency room, the operating room, naked as the day I was born, which was the last time I was that fucking naked anywhere in the world and shit like that. And I just gave up. I surrendered to the man. I was like, you have your will of me. So what they were doing while they were drugging me is like putting up a fucking tube. They punctured a fucking hole in my groin, fed this fucking tube up through my femoral artery up to my heart and shit. While this is going on, they're pumping me full of fentanyl, so I'm in this weird twilight state, and I'm chatting up a fucking storm and shit, talking to everybody and whatnot. Like at one point, like I was singing, I wound up fucking singing to myself, and the doctor goes, what is that? Is he moaning or is he singing? And the guy who shaved my crotch goes, I think he's singing the theme to Degrassi. And I was, because I've never faced an operating room before, man. And if you've never heard the theme song to Degrassi, The Next Generation, it's a very hopeful song. Sung by like a chorus of children. And the lyrics are very simple. Whatever it takes, I know I can make it through. And at that moment in time, that's the kind of positivity I needed. Shit like that. Now, to be fair, these kids, they're normally singing about high school problems like fucking dating and hand jobs and shit. Mine was a bigger deal. I was trying to make it through whatever was going on, which I still didn't know was going on at this point. All of a sudden, the doctor pops his head up from out of my crotch and he goes, okay, I think I know what it is. Exactly what I thought. He goes, there it is. Look. And I look up on some equipment. I don't know what I'm looking at. I said, what is it? And he goes, you have 100% blockage in your LAD. It's 100% occluded. I said, what does that all mean? He goes, the LAD is the artery that runs across the front of your heart. You got 3 arteries that feed your heart. The one that goes across the front, the biggest one is the LAD. You have 100% blockage. Cholesterol is just packed. No blood can get through. So what you have going on is like you take a hose and you fold it like this and it's just pressure is building behind it. That's what's happening. That pressure is pushing down on your heart. Your heart is pushing down on your lungs. That's why you can't catch your breath. He's going, so I'm going to get in there as fast as possible and do some work. But what I wanted to tell you was this. You like comic books, don't you? And I was like, this is the weirdest fucking time to make small talk, man. I said, yeah, I do like comic books and stuff. And he goes, okay, that artery that goes across the front of your heart, we call that the Widowmaker. And I was like, why? And he goes, because in 80% of the cases of 100% occlusion, the patient always dies. He goes, but you're going to be in the 20% because I'm good at my job. And he disappeared into my crotch again. Like some sort of medicinal white rabbit. And went to work and shit. And at this point, this is me facing information I'd never heard before in my life. The man literally told me I had a 20% chance of living. Now, I figure like, you know, every day of your life, you've got 50-50 chance of living and shit. You walk out the door, you get struck by lightning, hit by a fucking car and stuff like that. Oh, thank you so much. They're so worried I'm going to have a heart attack on their time. You could trip over a fucking dog by accident, and then that dog would get pissed, bite your fucking jugular, and as you bled out, you're like, but I loved dogs, like, and die ironically and shit like that. So I always figure there's a 50-50 chance I'm gonna die every day and shit, but when somebody's like, you got an 80% chance of dying today, those odds are fucking high. So for the first time in my life, I was faced with my own mortality, and I sat there going, like, I know me. I'm a chicken shit at heart. I'm not a very adventurous person, and I'm absolutely fucking terrified of death. It was my absolute fucking biggest fear. So I assumed when I faced the Reaper, I would be like, let me suck your dick to live, please. Like, find any way to fucking stay on this best of all possible worlds. I thought they would drag me out of this world with my fingernails in the fucking earth, screaming and shit. My father died screaming. So I figured I would go out the same fucking way. And as I was faced with this information, weirdest thing happened. I didn't feel that. The thing that I was most scared about my whole fucking life, perspective shifted dramatically when I was facing it. Like suddenly a weird calm hit me. It never occurred to me to start praying. Like I was raised Catholic and shit like that, and it never once occurred to me to like start praying to God, like, save my life, Jesus, because I'm sure Jesus would be like, you made dogma, go fuck yourself. I'm a man of peace, but I got lines. So I didn't presume upon that relationship. I didn't start praying to God, like, oh, save me and shit like that. So without that, all of a sudden I was left with like, well, you've spent your whole life with your head up your ass, like looking at you and who you are and trying to figure out the mystery of mankind and womankind and humankind in general and shit. You're a humanist. And now you're facing the thing that all human beings are fucking scared of and shit. So how do you feel now, motherfucker? What would you write now? I'm sure you wouldn't write yoga hosers right now, would you? Like, what are you thinking and shit? And I went back to the beginning. It wasn't like my life flashed before my eyes, but for some reason I started thinking of my parents, probably because my father and my mother both spent a lot of time in like operating rooms. In fact, while I was there talking with the doctor, he goes, I'm going to have to go up there, up your femoral artery, and I'm going to put a stent in your LAD. I'm going to open up that artery, and it's a mesh item. It's tight like this. You open it, it's going to open up that artery, let blood pass through. Do you know what a stent is? I said, yeah. My mom has a stent in the artery in her heart. And he goes, oh, do you have a history of heart problems in your family? I said, no, my mom's got that stent. And my dad died of a massive heart attack at 67. You know? And he's like, we got to go fast. And he went to work and shit. So I thought about mom and dad, because that's kind of where it all begins, right? Like I thought about, oh shit, they didn't know what they were doing. Like I was the third kid, they still didn't know what they were doing. And by the time they got to me, they really stopped trying, like in a certain way. Like my sister and brother, they're like, eat your vegetables. And me, they'd be like, eat your vegetables. We're like, I hate them. They're like, give them peanut butter and jelly quick, you know? I was babied to some degree and shit like that. And, you know, they were stricter on my brother and sister. By the time they got to the third kid, they're like, here's some TNT, fuck off. So they let me kind of go at my pace and shit. And I didn't do things very traditionally. And when I finished high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have the life plan that most of my friends did. I thought there was something else out there. Something else was fucking calling me. I always identified in a weird way with that song from the Muppet movie. You know, the one that Kermit sings and shit. The Rainbow Connection. There's a part of that song lyrically that goes, have you been half asleep and have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. And when I was a kid, I used to be like, the frog is singing about Jesus, but that's not it at all and shit. He's singing about the muse. He's singing about not the Jason Muse, the muse. That thing that calls you and makes you think, oh, maybe I can do that. I've seen people do things that looks fun. I want to try that and shit like that. So, you know, I had felt that calling on my whole life. I loved movies, loved TV shows, loved comic books and stuff like that, and felt like, oh, that world would be fun, but, you know, that might as well have been fucking Mars and shit like that. And our generation wasn't encouraged like kids are today. Like now you tell your kids, like, figure out what you love to do and then figure out how to get paid for it, and that's the fucking secret to life, because you could do anything and shit like that. When we were kids, like my dad would say shit like, see that mountain? Never climb it. Like, you'll fucking get hurt for sure. So read about your betters. They'll do it for you and stuff. And so my parents never forced me in any particular direction. And one day, you know, I saw Slacker on my 21st birthday, and I was like, shit, I want to try making a film. And, you know, I told them that, and I might as well have told them that I was trying to go to Mars or something like that. Like, I want to do something that's so outside the fucking box. They never said no. And they helped when they could. They didn't have any fucking money and shit. We were dirt poor. But, like, when they could, they pitched in. My mom was in the movie and stuff like that. And they never said no. They never said, you can't do this. Behind my back, maybe they did. I remember my brother at one point said to me later on in life, he goes, I remember when you were making the movie, Mom said, let him do this. He's always loved movies. Let him make this, get it out of his system, and then he'll probably go back to the convenience store. And she was absolutely right. I made a movie, made Clerks, took it to Sundance. When Sundance was over, it got bought. I went back to the convenience store. I didn't know what else to do. I was like, well, this job is secure. I'll go back to the convenience store and stuff like that. So my parents didn't force me in any particular direction. Because of that, I became me, and I did a bunch of weird things that I never imagined I'd fucking do. I went on this weird fucking journey, and that started with them. And they didn't know how to raise a kid. You know, they just figured it out as they went along and whatnot. And I thought about how important that relationship is. I know a lot of people who were fucked up by their parents and stuff. And I was like, wow, my parents didn't fuck me up. More importantly, neither of them fucked me. And that's the number one rule as a parent. Don't fuck the baby and shit like that. And so I was real appreciative. These are the things I thought about as I was dying. You know? Thought about them, thought about my brother and sister. My brother was my first audience. audience, the first person to laugh at things I said or something I wrote. My sister was the first person to introduce me to writing at all. She was writing a story about her and her friends and shit in a composition marble notebook. Opened it up one day and there was a drawing, a crude drawing that she had made. Not crude like their tits were out and shit. Crude like she was a kid and she drew it like really poorly and shit. But she's a better artist than me. I said, what is this? She goes, that's me and my friends. I said, what are you guys doing? She's like, well, I'm writing a book about this adventure we have and the secret of the cellar door. And I said, you can't write a book. You have to ask the government or something, you know. And she's like, why do you think that? And I was like, because we have library cards that have fucking government seals on them, and that's where the books are and stuff. And she was like, oh, you're so misinformed. She said, anybody can write anything. She's going, writing's free. Anybody can write. You like writing, you like telling stories. I'm always seeing you play with your Star Wars figures and make up worse movies than they had and shit like that. And she's going, you know, you could write if you wanted to, and that's what I'm doing. I'm writing. She was the first person to introduce me to that idea. Like, it's yours. Take yourself anywhere you want to go. Sit down and write. And when I did start writing, I showed it to my brother. He laughed. I was like, fuck. Making my brother laugh felt amazing. When you make him laugh, it's like he's having a stroke. He goes into like a silent scream kind of thing where he's like, so once if you can make that happen, suddenly you're like, maybe I am funny and shit. So I thought about my family and how awesome they were and how they started me on this journey. And then I thought about my friends, you know, people I hung out with that made me who I am. Brian Johnson, Walter Flanagan, Scott Mosier, Jason Mewes, especially. All the people that like I went into battle with making movies and stuff and kind of doing things, being creative with. And I thought about my family. I had that too. That was the other thing. It's like, you know, luckily I had professional success at like a kind of a young age and stuff. But then I also had the other side of the coin, because it's not all about your work. It really should be about your family. And I had one of those. You know, I saw my parents be a couple their whole lives when my dad was still alive, when I was young, all the way up to the moment he died. And I was like, that's what I want, man. Like, they're each other's best friends. They got each other's backs and shit like that. One day I want that. I want that. I want to be in a marriage. It seems cool. And I found that. Found my wife. And Jennifer and I spent years together and built another human being through sex. It was so fucked up. And she became a friend. Like, not just like, this is my child, independent and stuff like that, who I look out for and protect. But she grew up to be like a person I like and have conversations with. And I had that experience. Like, I got to have a family as well. I got to have fans. I got to have it all, honestly, and more than I ever fucking deserved. So instead of sitting there and being like, oh man, I'm gonna die, somebody fucking save me, and why did this happen, and fucking tearing my shirt or something like that, I just felt so fucking grateful. It was like the end of American Beauty. I know we shouldn't bring up Kevin Spacey anymore, but like But I loved the end of that movie, and it felt like that. I was so fucking grateful for everything that had gone on. And I'm not saying this to be mawkish or corny, because like they gave me this beautiful fucking award. And I don't mean this in a fake Hollywood way. I swear to you, this is fucking true. I thought about the people in this room. I don't know you know what I'm saying? Not all of you. Some of you I do, and some of you I've seen at events and shit like that. But I thought about you cats. And, you know, I thought about, like, oh, shit, I went through San Diego this year. But, like, I thought I won't do anything anymore. And I did so much because of you. Like, you know, years ago, I was like, it'd be cool to make a movie with my friends and shit. It should have stopped there. But because you people have no taste whatsoever, like, I've gotten to do so many other fucking things, man. So I sat there and I was ready. I was cool with it. That's the weirdest thing. It's the one thing I really want to pass on, the most important thing I could pass on today, other than please make Hollyweed happen, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the one thing I definitely wanted to impart is most people I know are also afraid of death or dying. There's definitely exceptions. I know there are people online, I've said this, and like, hey man, I know we're all afraid of dying. And some people are like, I'm not. I get it. There's some people who are way fucking more brave than I am and stuff. And I understand you now. I didn't understand you then, but I definitely understand you now and stuff. I used to be terrified of the end, and we all are, because, you know, we don't know what it is. There's no guarantees and stuff like that. but I was there. I didn't die on the table, man. My mother did. My mother died on the table when they were putting a stent in her heart. She was mid-conversation with the anesthesiologist. She was like, well, let's wrap this up, boys. I'm making a joke. And she fucking died. And she was dead for a minute and a half. They revived her and she came back. So I had her on Smodcast once and I was like, Mom, tell that story about how you fucking died. And she told the story. And afterwards I was like, what was it like? And she goes, well, I felt like I was floating. And I was like floating up. And she goes, no, just like floating on my back. And there was this calm. She goes, I was like, it felt like every weight was released from me. She said, like all the pressure, the shit that I'm supposed to do, like my responsibilities, instantly were gone. And I felt light, like it was incredible and stuff. Like, you know, she was describing that thing that Dickens talked about. Jacob Marley says that we wear the chains we forge in life and stuff. We all put pressure on ourselves. We all create our own little dramas and problems and stuff and live under them. Some of us are born with problems that we can't get around, but a lot of problems we kind of create for ourselves by the choices we make. And I'm not saying that's like bad choices. It's just the choices you make in life. You take a left, you take a right, everything's going to change and stuff. So, you know, I thought about that. Fuck, I hit a pothole. What was I just saying? Jacob Marley, thank you. Wear the chains we forge in life. So I said to my mother, I said, hey man, you've been alive in this best of all possible world 65 years. You were dead for a minute and change. Which was better? And she goes, the other side. And I said, get out of here. Why? She goes, I've never felt so at ease. She said, I just felt at peace. I've never felt that in this lifetime. And I was like, that's interesting. So when I was laying on the table, maybe it was because I'd had that conversation with my mother. Maybe that's what informed me or whatever. But I didn't die, but I was real fucking close. And I too was filled with this weird sense of calm. Like to the point where I was like not scared so much of what happened next or, you know, what's going to happen if I fucking shut down for good. Like it was this feeling of like, I'm done. Like suddenly for the first time in my life, death didn't seem like this fucking thing. Like, no, I was like, oh, I get it. Like I completed. It was like handing in a fucking test. I was like, how interesting. Like there's this weird feeling. Maybe it was the fentanyl that could have been that and shit like that. But I was sitting like, there's this weird sense of calm I feel. Like, oh my, this ain't gonna be as bad as I thought. Like it's gonna suck to leave this world and shit. I had one like kind of like not even a regret. That was the beautiful thing. I had no fucking regrets, but I had this one sense of like, oh man, I wish we had made Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, the movie that we're actually going to make in November. But I said, I thought like, oh man, I wish we had made Jay and Silent Bob Reboot solely because like as I was laying there about to die, the last movie I would have made was Yoga Hosers. And like, I was like, I can't go out on that one. Fuck no. Like, I was just fucking around. Hold on. So I was filled with a weird sense of calm. Now, it could be different if like, you know, fucking I was a home invasion and somebody was stabbing me to death or a shark was eating me. I'm sure I wouldn't be so zen about the whole experience at that point. But where I was, man, it was just it was a dire moment and shit. And instead of crumbling like I assumed I would, it's not like I found inner strength. There was the perspective completely shifted. So much so that like I was ready. I didn't want it, but I was like, oh, all right, well, this is gonna be it. Like, fuck, man, like what a journey that was. Like I got to do some incredible things and all right, I get it. Maybe you're dying at 47 because all this shit started when you were like 23. You got the Clerks happened when you were kids, so you got a nice ample bite at that apple and you had a family and shit like that. So if this is it, like don't bitch. Like don't be that last person at the party where people are like, when's he fucking gonna leave? Like just go. Like get on the boat, man. If Charon shows up, jump on the boat and fucking head off, man. Like don't try to make this last fucking longer. You had your time. You know what I thought of? I swear to you, this is fucking true. And I saw him the other day and I didn't get a chance to talk to him because we were doing stuff on the IMD boat. And Neil Gaiman was on the boat. I thought of a moment in The Sandman from years ago, man. And he goes on his first journey where he gets released and shit like that. He meets his sister. The issue, The Sound of Her Wings, I think it was called. It's where he meets Death, the personification of Dream's sister, Death. And, you know, I'm sure most people in this room don't need that explained to them. Neil Gaiman's characters are well known to all of us and stuff. I thought about that moment in that issue. She's walking around New York with Dream. dream, and she's meeting people who are passing over, about to die, and then she's the one that kind of transitions them to the next world, and like there's a baby and there's a lady and stuff. There's one older gentleman who's sitting in a chair, and they show up in his living room, and he's like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "You know who we are, who I am." And he was disappointed, and he was like, "Oh man, like, are you kidding me?" He's going, "I had this hard life, these things, I had to do all this." He was describing a hard, bad life and stuff. He's like, "I did all that, and look at, you're here, what do I get?" And I'll never forget the line. Even when I was a young person, when I was still very vital and nowhere near death and stuff, it impacted in a great way, like great writing usually does. And it echoed all the way to that moment where I was laying on the fucking table. Death says to the guy, she goes, "You got what everyone gets. You got a lifetime." And that's what went through my head and heart. I was like, you get what everybody gets. You got a lifetime, and what a lifetime it was. So just release. That's it, man. Let go. And I was ready to fucking go. And Dr. Leidenheim saved my life. All of a sudden, he pops up out of my crotch and he goes, "There it is, you're fixed." And I was like, "What, are you fucking serious? I was ready to die." And he goes, "Not on my watch." So... it was fucking astounding, man. The next morning, nutritionist came. My wife and daughter came and stayed overnight and stuff. Harley was staring at me the whole time. She's a real first-world kid and stuff with helicopter parents, so she's never really had much strife and shit. This was a real serious moment in her life. She hasn't lost many people and stuff, and she came close to losing her dad, and she was profoundly affected by it. It was very sweet. I certainly felt a lot of love and stuff. My kid's been vegan for 3 years, and she's never been shitty about it. With me, I'm the last holdout in the house. I was eating meat and all that shit. And she would never try to, convert me or anything. She converted everyone around me slowly, but never, went for me. I was the great white whale, I guess, and stuff. And so she would throw subtle shade every once in a while. Like, I loved milk and shit. One day I was in the kitchen down in some milk, and she's reading her phone, and she goes, all quiet under her breath, "Not your mom, not your milk." And I was like, "What does that mean?" She goes, "Is that milk from Grandma?" And I said, "I fucking certainly hope not." He's going, "That's the only milk you're supposed to drink is your mother's milk. You drink some poor little cow's milk. It's supposed to be theirs. That milk is meant for that cow. Now that little cow doesn't get any milk." And I was like, "Sucks to be that cow." So I'm in the room, and the nutritionist comes in and says, "Hey, we see you had some problems last night." I said, "Yeah, but they fixed me up." She goes, "Yeah, but your cholesterol is very high, that 100% blockage, And I was like, "Ooh, yeah, fucking, I can't believe that happened, And really, I knew why it happened and shit. I never ate very well my whole life and shit. I always ate junk food and stuff. And I was like, I'm sure I was just weird to me because I'd lost weight a few years ago. The doctor told me, he goes, "It has nothing to do with recent." He's going, 100% blockage? That starts in your childhood, man. That's like, that didn't happen recently. That started when you were in your, single digits and stuff." And I thought back, and I was like, "Ooh, fucking Hostess Twinkies and shit." And then I remembered we were poor. We couldn't afford that shit. So I was like, "Ooh, Little Debbie Swiss Delights." So the kid's there as this lady, the nutritionist, starts going they say a plant-based diet can really reduce your cholesterol and stuff. And my kid's like, "Yeah, tell him, be a vegan, one of us. And so I told the kid, I was like, "All right, look, I've eaten the way I wanted to my whole life. Fucking 47 years up till now, I've eaten whatever the fuck I wanted. After Clerks happened, then I felt like the smartest guy in the room. So I was like, I'll eat cake every day and shit like that, ridiculous logic. So I was like, I've eaten poorly my whole fucking life. For 1 year, I'll give it a minimum a year. I'm going to go vegan." And the kid rolled a tear, and she's like, "You're my hero." And now we fucking hang out and go to vegan places. We have that to kind of share and shit. And I actually go to more vegan places than she does more regularly. Every day I go to this one fucking veggie grill that's on Sunset Boulevard. And the kid who was always like, "Dad, you should become a vegan," is now like, "Dad, slow down, eat other food." So I wound up fucking living, and some people online were like, "Oh shit, man, that's gonna be amazing. He lived through something. He's gonna have something profound to say. I can't wait to see what he makes next because it's gonna be deep." No, it's not. It's a Jay and Silent Bob movie. So, but it's gonna be fucking fun and funny. But this is is tied to what I want to talk about today, Hollyweed. The show that we shot 2.5 years ago. I wanted it to become a series. We shot it with Fremantle, these cats, the production company. Donnell Rawlings, who plays Ashy Larry on the Chappelle Show. He was my partner, basically as Clerks in a weed store. When I'd written Clerks years and years prior and stuff, I wrote the role of Randall to play myself, which is why he has all the best jokes and whatnot. But as we got close to production, I chickened out. I was like, I don't know how to act. Why did I think I could do that? Which is weird because it never occurred to me to be like, I don't know how to direct. Why do I think I could do that? But for some reason, I opted to stay with that and gave the role to Jeff Anderson instead. And I wound up in a role in the movie, but without words, playing Silent Bob. And I always fucking regretted that, man. Like the regretted not regretted casting Jeff, he's wonderful in the movie, but regretted losing a little bit of confidence in myself, particularly at that fucking moment and stuff. And I was like, man, I wish I'd done it. And if you're lucky and you live long enough, and then if you organize things the right way, you get second bites at the apple, like two roads diverge in the yellow wood. And I came back to almost the same point where instead of, making Clerks and not choosing to be Randall, I was making Hollyweed and choosing to play the co-lead. So we made this show. I had a blast doing it. We took it out into the world and everyone was like, go fuck yourself. And nobody wanted the show. They were like, there is a dispensary show coming up on Netflix, man. That'll be better. So nobody picked up our show. And that happens a lot in this business and shit. Of 100% of the pilots that are ever made, like you see maybe 4% and stuff like that. 95, 96% just never gets seen. The odds are incredibly bad. And, we were one of them. Ralph Garman, the guy I do Hollywood Babylon with, always has a very funny joke that he tells about being in pilots and stuff because he's been in a bunch and he's like, I've killed more pilots than the Red Baron. So, I just expected I'd become one of those. I guess nobody's going to see this pilot. And it sat on my laptop for like 2 years. And periodically, if I had nothing to do, the work was done, I was just sitting around smoking, I'd watched everything that I wanted to watch, I would reopen it and watch it and think about like what it might have been and stuff. I'm like, oh man, we should finish this one day. Find money and turn it into a movie or something. It was fun, and I hated just leaving it behind. You don't manufacture these things hoping nobody sees them. It's manufactured for use. And I was used to making things that people either see or hear, and suddenly I made something that wasn't going to go anywhere, and I just had to live with it. I was like, that's what happens in this business. And then 2.5 years later, man, I run into the folks at rivettv.com. Marcus was a dude who was a higher up there. We'd worked with him at Fox a long time ago on some other projects and stuff. And he was talking about this platform where you take a pilot and show it to the audience instead of like a network being like, this sucks, fuck off. You could show it to people that might actually dig it, and if they like it, they can pre-buy episodes and watch like a full season. They can produce the full season. They can green light the fucking show. And I was like, that sounds fun. I said, we have this pilot that we made a long time ago called Hollyweed, and I got to show it to them. We did. Showed it to them. They liked it. They were like, this is fucking dope. Like, this could be it. This could be the first test case. So, normally I'm like, well, I talk about doing a lot of things that sometimes don't come to fruition. A lot of things I talk about we do make. Sometimes you got to wait a little bit longer. So people come up to me at Comic-Con all the time like, where's Moose Jaws, bro? And so sooner or later I'll get there. Sometimes you just got to set things up like well in advance. But I'm used to some things not happening, but sometimes you want to lean toward things that have a possibility of happening, not things that are a crapshoot and stuff. So if you would ask me before the heart attack, man, hey, do you want to fucking take that pilot to Rivet TV and leave it into the hands of the audience? I'd be like, you know what, it's fine, I don't want to bother anybody. But since I almost fucking died, now I'm just like, I don't give a shit, let me bother people. So we put the pilot up. It's been up online for I think a week and change at this point. I enjoy it, and what we're going to do is, I've been talking for so fucking long, we're going to take a quick break and watch the pilot to Hollyweed, because I've never seen it with an audience, so I literally want to hear the laughter if it works. So with all you folks here, it'll be like the world's largest test screening of sorts and whatnot. We'll watch this about 25 minutes, then I'll come back out, we'll chit-chat, and we'll bring out our special guests tonight. Grant Gustin and Tom Cavanagh are going to be here, man. So kick back, we're going to watch Hollyweed, and I'll be right back as soon as it's over. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, that was so fucking delightful for me, man. Thank you. I love loved hearing it. It actually, there's some fucking good laughs in there. Thank you for watching it. If you want to see more, go to rivettv.com. It's not crowdsourced financing, so you can't like, here's fucking $100,000, although I don't know if that even happens. This is supported by buying episodes, future episodes. So you can get in there and pay anything from $1.99 per episode up to $5.99 per episode. Once we get enough people, triggers, and we've only got 35 days left. It triggers season 1, and we go make 6 episodes. So if we reach our goal in the end of August, beginning of September, we shoot 6 more. And I've been writing them, and I'm having a fucking blast doing it because Donnell is a comedian and stuff, so he's a storyteller. So it's not just me. I could turn to him and be like, hey man, I'm going to borrow that stuff from your act. I've been going to shows and watching his act and stuff, and he tells these great long stories. So I'm like, can I borrow Barbecue Becky? And he's like, do it. So like, we're writing these episodes now that are, I don't know, for me, I love it. I as much as I always love the show, it tripled my love hearing you fuckers laugh at it, man. That was fucking tremendous. So, my birthday's coming up August 2nd. If you're like, what do I get the guy? Give me $1.99. That's all I need, man. Buy some episodes of Hollyweed so we can go make this. rivettv.com are the people that are making it possible. Give them a round of applause, folks. Okay. We're in for a fucking treat in the world of film entertainment, man. We got another thing to show you, and it's fucking right in line with what we've been doing. It's some really, really funny shit. It's a movie made by a couple friends of mine, starring a couple friends of mine who happen to be massive, massive TV stars. We're going to take a look right now at the short film called Tom and Grant, and then I'm going to bring out Tom Cavanagh and Grant Gustin. We're going to talk about it. So, without further ado, man, let's check out Tom and Grant right now, and I'll be back out with the boys in a few minutes. Thank you. Gustin and Tom Cavanagh.
When you even see more.
Let's sit down and chit-chat about what just happened. You're Tom. How was that, man? You got to sit there and hear the audience. See it for the first time. Have you ever seen it with an audience before?
We have, but not an audience of this size. It was tremendous. Crazy. And everybody seemed to like, that's a funny thing when you, everybody just, these are our people. They got it. They're like, oh, yeah, okay, you guys are like on board. Everything, nobody missed anything. It was tremendous.
Now this is, let me see, how many episodes of Flash you directed?
2
at this point.
Yeah.
You direct this as well?
Yeah.
You gonna keep doing it?
I hope so, yeah.
It's really fucking great.
Thank you.
I enjoyed the shit out of it. But what was really fun was watching the guy who's normally such a straight-laced play that fucking part, man.
Yeah, it's so stupid. Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
What was it like? Take us through it, man.
I mean, honestly, this was born out of like bits we do on set, and a couple of them, like the jizz hands bit, like
Which I was Googling backstage. Carlos is here?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, bring out Carlos,
come on out.
man.
Carlos Valdez is here. Plays 5 on our show. There he is. Yeah!
Los!
So, as you know, because you direct The Flash, you know, for us, so much of the entertainment, we put the entertainment on the screen, but there's so much that happens that isn't on the screen, as you know. And
legit funny stuff.
And,
like you guys always fooling around having a good time. It's fun.
And that's one of the reasons I wanted Carlos to come out, because he's one of the massive instigators, as you know, of all the stupid stuff that we do. And there's one of the things that we find immensely appealing is the really, really dumb guys that think they're really smart and they're just so stupid.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so we have about 1,000 bits
we
can
just
cycle
beat
in.
bits in the background.
And Jizz Hands was like, you know, the poor cast, the rest of the cast were like, this is the funny, and they're like, oh my God, let's stop with the Jizz Hands. And then,
how it was fun exactly.
I mean, it was just really Carlos
is like, why did I come out?
Yeah. Well, But the other thing is, like, you know, so we also, one of the things in the bits, as you know, we come up with songs, and so Carlos and I wrote all that music, all that thing.
That's what I saw in the end credits, man. It was a legit song.
That, like, that rap, the music that you hear out there when Tom and Grant and I start singing, Tom and Grant start singing the song, that's actually, when it turns on the radio, that's all Carlos. Yeah, it's just,
I do that. Great, like these guys come up with bits all the time, and you and I just, you know, we dick around with melodies. That's what we do.
What we found is that something can be really funny to us, and then we just keep doing it, and it becomes really unfunny, and we've got the courage to not stop doing it, because 3 minutes later it becomes funny again. Right? So we cross that chasm nonstop.
We got this rare opportunity, man. It's become a mini flash panel to some degree. Let's open it up to the audience and let them ask some questions of these fine gentlemen and stuff. Oh, shit, there's the light. And people are going to come on up. Oh, my God, you got a little baby. How adorable. Are you giving us that?
Yes. I wanted an autograph, so I trade my baby.
Fair enough. What's your name, man?
I'm Russ.
Everyone give it up for Russ. He's first. Take us there, sir.
You probably don't remember me. A couple years ago, I talked to you a little bit how much of an inspiration you were as far as chasing dreams and finding a career that fit for me, and you helped me get to that place. And I'm happier than ever. I'm able to support, a family and everything. I got a baby.
You had sex.
Oh, good sex too. Yeah. I call it the deep dunk. All the way, right? All right. Deep dunk. All right. So
not in front of the kid.
Your mouse.
Don't say deep dunk, okay? So I have the career that I've always wanted, and I'm there, man. But one thing that people don't really warn you about is that there could be stress, and you're very prolific. You work. I mean, from my perspective, I don't see how you sleep. You're just constantly producing content. You have so many podcasts. You have these movies. You're writing, for the shows. I mean, how do you not let yourself go crazy with so much work? How do you keep yourself organized, and how do you not let yourself stress out to the point where you're just stuck?
Thank you. It's easy, honestly. Whenever I set out to do something, if I find myself in the midst of it with like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed, or there's too much going on, or something like that, there's two things I always say to myself. First thing is, you wanted this. Like, we're only here because you reshaped the universe to do this thing that you thought was so fucking important, and you inconvenienced all these lives, and you recruited people to your stupid fucking cause, and now you're gonna bitch? You wanted this. Shut the fuck up. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I say to myself is a little kinder. I say, what was the alternative? Like, seriously, what was I going to do? Was I going to sit there and wonder what that thing could be and live with the possibility of, like, what if I did that? That hurts more. It's crueler to kind of live a life where you're like, what if? I'd rather know. I'd rather try it, and if it fucking blows up in my face, whatever, we gave it a shot and stuff. So I always sit there and go like, what was the alternative? You wouldn't rest until you got to this fucking point. You inconvenienced yourself and a lot of people because you had some fucking dream. Now follow through with it, because you're right. There's sometimes we set things in motion, and when we're on the journey, it gets harder and harder. Sometimes it doesn't get any easier. Those are the two things that keep me going. And then I also think about, like, I used to work at the convenience store, and that was nice. They pay you much more to do what I do now. So, like, at the end of the day, if I'm like, well, I feel lazy, I gotta pay bills. So I'm like, get the fuck up and do stuff and pretend for a living. That's the thing. I never sit there and go like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. My job is fucking ridiculously simple. I just have to make pretend, or I have to go like, what do I want to do today? So I try to do it and stick with it and see it through, man, because it's what I wanted. I don't know what the alternative is, but I also know that some people are watching in a different way than other people. people do. Some people are watching to see if you can get the boulder up the hill. And it's important to fucking tell people you can. You know, even if the boulder gets up there and rolls down the hill and kills everybody like yoga hosers or something like that, like at the end of the day, it's important to fucking get it up there, and it's important to show people that it can be done, because then they're like, I'm gonna fucking try that. Like Richard Linklater made the movie Slacker, and he wasn't thinking about me when he did it, but when I saw it, that was my clarion call. That was me going, fuck, that's what I want to do, man. If he could do that shit, why can't I try that shit? And I know I've met a lot of people who tell me that, like, because you did what you did, it makes me do what I want to do or try what I want to do. And that's like a pretty sweet responsibility to carry around. Like the idea that people are like, well, if he can do it, maybe I could do it. And that's what I've been trying to communicate for like a quarter century as I do this job, which is like, this is fun. You should try it. You could do it, but you'll never know unless you pursue it, unless you take a step in that direction. Sounds like you've taken lots of steps in that fucking direction. Never lose the faith, man, because at the end of the day, what's the alternative? Do the thing. Even if it seems hard, even if there's pressure, even if it takes fucking years, do the thing. Like, you know the truth inside. You know you're supposed to be doing the thing. So do the thing. Now, if you're sitting out there going, well, the thing for me is I want to hunt children. I'm not fucking talking to you. Don't do that thing. I'm talking about being creative, man. That kid is beautiful. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Geeking out.
How are you? Me too.
I'm fine. I'm your Twitter stalker, by the way. I love those two features that you guys put up there. I got a bonus laugh out of watching the sign language lady do jizz hair. That was
For those of us who are busy watching the filmed entertainment, please show us jizz hands. See, it does exist. There's a sign for it. Oh my God, that was amazing.
That is incredible.
I now know if I like meet somebody who's hearing impaired and in trouble, I can be like, jizz hands. They're like, thanks, I'll move down the line.
So, Clerks was the first VHS I stole from Blockbuster. And they charged me $40 for it back in '95, and that was a lot of money. So my question is about merchandising, because I looked hard and wide to find this movie shirt, and to put movies on my boobies, you didn't get a dime of that because it came from overseas somewhere, unless you got some sweatshop out there somewhere.
After my heart attack, I woke up and I was like, we need to own a sweatshop. Forced labor for cheap.
So can you open a movies where you could sell like the double cannabis with cheese or the donkey dogs or something?
I always wanted to open a movie, real life movies, or any restaurant, just so I can serve one sandwich, man, a chicken sandwich, the Jay and Silent Bob's cock smoker. I always wanted to sell that sandwich and stuff. But I can tell you, while there's definitely always at least one store you can count on to go to and buy merchandise based on the stuff I've done. Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash online. If you go there, we sell lots of fucking movie shirts. They're gathering dust waiting for you. So that's where I kind of put all my stuff. Sometimes we get lucky and Hot Topic puts our stuff in stores and stuff like that, but you can always find our stuff at my little store. It was a store that was featured in the show Comic Book Men, which sadly just got canceled this year. Don't. We had 7 seasons and 96 episodes, which is about 95 episodes more than we really deserved. So we had a great fucking run. But the store, even though the show stopped, the store continues to exist. And we have an online version. You can give me as much money as you want. I'd much rather you spend it on Hollyweed, but I'll take shirt money as well. Yes, it's a little more than $1.99. Thank you, man. Thanks for wearing a movie shirt. I never see that in the wild. I see it at my house a lot. And my kid's like, do I have to wear this? How are you, kind sir?
I'm good.
What's your name?
Chad.
Chad?
Yep.
Everyone give it up for Chad.
No, but you got an entire packed house, which made up a lot for the Star Wars accent.
You're not fucking kidding, man. Like, honestly, when I came out, like, I was so blown away by when Eddie gave me the Inkpot Award that I didn't even get a chance to process that, like, there was one time I came out here and fucking nobody was here and shit. They were all listening to Star Wars music. You were here. There were definitely some people here. It's the room at that point was a 6,000 seater, I think, and we had about 2,000, but that looks like a hot dog in a hallway in a very empty room. So when I came out tonight, like, that was weird. That used to be my big fear, like, along with death. I was like, what if I go out on stage and nobody gives a shit anymore? And so it finally happened. I had to confront it that day, and then it was kind of easy to process. Like, later on, I was like, more people like Star Wars than you. It's just a fact. Get over it. So it was a weird moment that, like, whenever I now come and do Hall H, I'm always like, well, you've seen it be absolutely fucking empty, so as long as it's not that, it'll always be good. I walked down, there's a bunch of people here, so it felt fantastic. I think most people are just like, he's on the I'm Still Alive tour, let's see him before he fucking dies. So I met somebody today at Comic-Con. I was walking around and they were just like, oh my God, you died. And I was like, no, I almost died. I just had a heart attack. I didn't die. And he goes, yes, you did. And I was like, you're right, I died. Anyway, back to you, good sir.
Right. No, it's bittersweet that you're not actually listening to Prince give you a personal rendition of Raspberry Beret, but
wait a second. What a sweet version of heaven you've just conjured, man. Like, now I'm sitting there going, fuck, I wish I had died. Back to you.
Thank you, Miss Kind Sir. Anyways, it seems as if you're becoming like the Stan Lee of the DC universe. You know, we're going to be expecting to see Jay and Silent Bob rolling through Metropolis and like the movies and stuff.
Jay and Silent Bob definitely popped up in Central City last episode that I did of The Flash. The writers were kind enough to let me be in it. They were like, we got two dudes who work in a museum and stuff, and they're kind of bunglers, and we were wondering if you and Jay wanted to play the roles and stuff. And I knew Jay would in a heartbeat, because Jay fucking loves every CW show and whatnot. And, you know, he'd been with me when I went and did previous episode and stuff, but, like, he'd never been on, so all of a sudden he had a chance to be on, and I didn't want to be like, hey man, you can't do that, because I'll be honest, I didn't want to be in the episode because I didn't want to have to wear pants. And I was playing a security guard, so I would have had to wear pants. And when they told me that, I was like, fuck, man. So I didn't feel like I could tell Jason, like, there was a chance for you to be on The Flash, but I wouldn't wear pants. So I said yes, and so we both got to be in it and stuff. And when the episode aired, there were a small percentage of the audience going like, oh my God, it's Jay and Silent Bob, and a lot of kids going, who are these old men? So yeah, we got on the show, but hopefully I can get into some other stuff and whatnot. But we'll be back on the screen ourselves, hopefully, if it gets to movie theaters and shit. When we start shooting Jay and Silent Bob reboot in November. Jay and Silent Bob reboot is a direct sequel to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back nearly 20 years later and stuff. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was a movie about Jay and Silent Bob find out Hollywood's making a movie about them. They cross the country to stop that movie from happening. I've become a much better filmmaker. I made that movie nearly 20 years ago. I'm a better writer, more accomplished, so the stories are going to be deeper this time around. Jay and Silent Bob reboot is about Jay and Silent Bob find out Hollywood is doing a reboot of that old movie about them. And they have to go cross country to stop it from happening again. It's the same fucking movie all over again. And no bullshit, these gentlemen will be in it as well. You got a job.
Yeah.
Over to you, my friend.
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
So good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I've been waiting since Thursday for this, so I'm pretty excited.
Oh, right on, man. Do you have do you have a Kevin Smith fan in your hand?
Yes, I do.
Put it in front of your face. Oh my God, it's creepy.
What are you talking about? Yeah, so I had a question. I read an article not too long ago. It said that if you said that like having THC in your system helped you with your heart attack. I was just wondering in what aspects did it help you and what strain were you on?
Yes, because it's a fucking lifesaver, man. The strain I was on is my favorite strain, the strain that I ingest more than oxygen, and it's San Fernando Valley OG. I'm an OG guy, and that's my strain. When that's not available, I switch over to Girl Scout cookies. And so I was smoking San Fernando Valley OG that whole day before the show, because I was nervous. I had 2 shows to do that night. We were taping them for a special and stuff. So I smoked a lot of fucking weed that day, and then right before the show began, I smoked a huge fucking joint, and then was like, all right, let's go do the show. So when I got off stage and then had the heart attack and stuff, part of me was just like, I didn't realize I was heading toward a heart attack. I felt like I was mucusy from smoking too much weed. So when they were like, we called the ambulance, I was like, no, fuck, they're going to find out that I just smoked too much weed. There's just too much mucus in my system. But it turned out to be a fucking heart attack. So I was scared when it was all over that I was like, oh my God, maybe I'm going to have to say goodbye to weed and stuff. So I talked to my doctor, my GP, Dr. Israel. So I saw her like a week after I had the heart attack. And I was like, hey man, how are you? And she goes, I haven't seen you in so long. I was like, I was in for like physical last year. She was like, that was 4 years ago. So I was like, maybe that's why I almost died. So she goes, how was it? And I told her about it. I said, at the end of the story about the heart attack, I said, look, I got to ask you this. I haven't talked to anybody else about this, but like I'm kind of nervous and I need your medical expertise. She goes, go ahead. I said, I smoked a fuck ton of weed that day, a lot of weed before, all day long before the show. And then right before the show, smoked a huge fucking joint, did the show, came off stage, had a heart attack. And she's like, I know, I read the story. And I said, all right, so do you think smoking weed had anything to do with the heart attack? And I was crossing my fingers, because I was like, don't take it from me, I'll give up animal food products, but don't take the weed, And she goes, no, it didn't. It had nothing to do with your heart attack as far as I'm concerned. And she's going, in fact, didn't you tell me that they said you were calm? And they did. Like while the medic guy was going like, hey, we're going to take you to the hospital and stuff, I was like, all right. At one point he goes, you're being really calm, man. That's going to get you through this. And then the dude behind him was like, that's what's going to save his life. And I was like, what did that part mean? Because I didn't quite know and stuff. And so the doctor goes, they said that you were calm, that you remained calm. I was like, it did. And she was like, that's probably because you were high. She's like, honestly, when people find out that they're having a heart attack, if they're told they're having a heart attack, you know what happens? I said, what? She goes, it compounds the heart attack because people are terrified of dying. But you were too stoned to know the difference. So she's like, smoking that joint might have saved your life. And I was like, I'm going to put that shit on a t-shirt, man. So yes, if you're looking for that life-saving strain, I can't guarantee it'll make you live forever, but fuck, it looked like it was all the difference for me, man. It's San Fernando Valley OG. Get your hands on some of that and shit. Thank you. Okay, we got time for a couple more, and then we got to get out of here, man. How is it, Kevin? We have to wrap. Oh, yes, fuck. We got to get going right now. But you came up to the mic, so we're going to go with you. You're going to be the last question of the evening, man. What's your name?
My name's Jasmine.
Give it up for Jasmine. She's going to take us home.
Actually, mine is kind of an apology to you. So I read on Facebook recently that the night that you and Jen finally hooked up was the night that you were at Golden Apple Comics doing that signing, that you closed out the shop and it was like 3 hours late, whatever. I was the last girl.
You kept me from getting laid?
I kept you from getting laid.
Oh my God, that was so long ago. How are you?
I'm well.
Well, I got married since then.
Yes, you did, and that makes me very happy. But so part of it is an apology. I apologize for almost keeping you from getting laid.
Oh my God, you never have to apologize for being there in the first place. Thank you for keeping me around.
And you are incredible, and I love you, and I'm so glad that you're here. And if you would have died, I would have fucking killed you. But I do have have one small question. When I was at WonderCon, I went to a panel for a movie called Shooting Clerks.
Yes!
And I cannot wait to see it. And I wanted to hear what your thoughts are on it.
There are these kids in Scotland, Uppy Downey on Twitter, Chris. They made a movie about how we made that movie, and it's called Shooting Clerks. And so the ethos that they followed was the ethos behind us making the movie in the first place. Like, it's a movie about a kid who wanted to make a movie with his friends, and it was made by a kid who made a movie with his friends. The biopic about us making the movie closely parallels the movie-making experience in and of itself. And I never fucking imagined in my life that anyone would be like, we're going to dramatize the events of your stupid-ass life and shit. But it was beautiful. Like, we showed the flick in Atlantic Highlands. The boys were out there, it was the whole crew, to show the flick, and we shot it for the TV show for Comic Book Man. It was one of the episodes we did last year. It's another reason why I can't be sad to see the show go. We did so many warm, wonderful episodes that celebrated my friends and my life and stuff. I couldn't look that gift horse in the mouth. And one of the last episodes we did was us watching Shooting Clerks. So if you ever see the episode, it's me and my friends, me and the people that made that movie, sitting around watching a movie about how we made the movie, made by kids in Scotland. So, their Jersey accents were pretty bad. But, it didn't matter because, they took me on a journey. They showed me my father. They showed me my mom. They showed moments of my life that happened. And then some stuff that, of course, had to be dramatized and squished together and stuff. But it was weird watching it unfold. And, they ran cameras on me while we were watching the flick, and I'm like a middle-aged stoner, so everything fucking makes me cry. And so as I was watching this, naturally I was moved to tears. There's some moments that just fucking destroyed me, including the moment that I'm gonna get glassy talking about again. In the movie, they show me meeting Scott Mosier. And Scott Mosier, if you don't know, is the guy without whom I wouldn't have ever tried anything. Scott was the battery. Sometimes in life you find that person that is the battery. You've got a lot of great ideas and shit, you've got dreams, but you can't get out of yourself. You can't get past fucking square one. You need help. And if you tell people in this world that you want to fucking try shit outside your box, you will not be met with a chorus of hosannas. You will be slapped across the face with the big floppy dick of why. With people just being like, why? Why do you think you can do that? Why do you think all of a sudden that you think you have the ability? Why are you saying this shit? Why ain't I saying this shit? Why are you acting like this? People don't celebrate you if you decide to try something outside your box. World's something of a crab pot, and misery loves company. So if you try to climb out, there's 1,000 fucking claws to pull you right down, man, because why see you fucking rise? If you want to get out of a position, if you want to rise or something like that, you can't surround yourself with why. The world is full of that shit. All you have to do is surround yourself with why not. You find a bunch of good friends and shit like that, and you share your dreams. So you're like, I want to step outside my box and try something I've never known before, and it might fucking fail, but other people have done it, and they're human beings, and I'm a human being, so I think I could try it too. And instead of somebody being like, why, you get, why not? That sounds good. Why not? I'll help you out. Why not? I was just going to jerk off today. That sounds more appealing. So you surround yourself with why not. Scott was one of the first why not people I ever met in my life. I didn't really know the guy. I met him in Canada. He was at film school. He looked like an insanely pretty boy. He looked like 90210. Kind of looked like Luke Perry and shit. Wore a leather jacket. And I was dressed like a rebel. I was wearing a long fucking trench coat and a backwards face. I was dressed like Silent Bob, really, is what I was dressed like. And we kind of became friends, and this total fucking stranger wound up giving up his life to help me make all my dreams come true. It's fucked up. It's crazy. I've had 2 marriages in this world while still really only having one. Scott was kind of like the first. Jennifer, my wife, is obviously the first real one, but kind of like the second. In as much as she's the second person I met did what nobody else in this life ever did. They put me and my stupid ass fucking dreams ahead of their own. Scott Mosier didn't go to film school because he was like, I want to be the guy that produces mall rats. Not at all. He went to film school because he wanted to make shit. And so we met got along. I dropped out of film school. He finished. He went, though I was only a 9-month program. I dropped out 4.5. He went the full 9 and stuff. But we made this deal. I said, hey man, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna write something, and you write your script, and whoever's done writing a movie first, the other one will go help that one out and stuff. He said, all right. And Scott beat me. Scott wrote a script first and stuff. I loved it. I said, I'm gonna come out to Vancouver. We're gonna make this. I said, but I finished mine. Here it is. And I sent him Clerks. And Scott Mosier called me from the other side of the country, in another country completely, from Vancouver, and he goes, we're not doing mine anymore. We're going to do this. And I was like, why? And he goes, this is a fucking movie. You wrote something that I could see as I read this. Like, this plays. So mine we'll get to, but like, this is as close to a screenplay I've ever read in my life. Motherfucker left Canada, came all the way to New Jersey, and dreamed my dreams for me. You know what I'm saying? With me. Built them into fucking reality. It was one of the most beautiful things I've saw. I did that for years and fucking years. And never once did I stop and be like, he wanted to do something else because my shit was coming true and he was helping me out. And I was like, fuck, this is the way it's supposed to be. That wasn't the way it was supposed to be. But he made it that way. It's a beautiful fucking gesture. Just like years later, my wife would put aside her life and be like, all right, let's go. You've got ideas. Let's do it. Somebody puts themselves aside for you, you never forget that person. So Scott Mosier one day got to a place where he was just like, I think I have to go. I got to do my thing. I didn't come into this world to just make your stuff. And it was heartbreaking. It wasn't shitty. We didn't fight over it. But I loved them so much. And I remember that ridiculous fucking thing they taught us as kids, as Catholics. If you love something, let it go. And if it comes back to you, it's yours. If not, it was never meant to be. This guy helped me do everything. The least I could fucking do was not give him a hard time as he left, went out the door. So I was like, go on your fucking journey. And Scott's gone on a journey to figure out what he is and what he wants to do. And I'm so fucking happy to report that at Christmas time, the movie that's coming out from Illumination, The Grinch, Scott's the director of that movie. Now, all I think of when I think about it is I held that motherfucker back for 25 years. He could have been making that movie way earlier, and I said that to him once. We were about to record a podcast, and I was like, Mose, I feel like shit, man. If you hadn't been making all those stupid-ass Kevin Smith movies, like, you could have been making you could have been directing animated movies. He's directing movies probably gonna make $1 billion fucking dollars. It's The Grinch and shit. Even if they fuck everything up, it'll work, you know? So, and he said a really beautiful thing. He goes, never would have happened if I didn't do all those Kevin Smith movies. Like, that's how I learned to be what I am and stuff. And this podcast, that's how I learned to do that. That's why I learned to be brave and try to say jokes to people in a room and stuff and build confidence. And he goes, this was symbiotic. He's going, I get it. You got a lot out of me, but I got a lot out of you and stuff. So I love that man. Without that man, I wouldn't have done anything. Everybody in this room has a Scott Mosier. You all have somebody who's the fucking battery that makes you go. The person without whom you can't fathom fucking enter that creative realm or any fucking realm whatsoever. In this instance, these cats, they work together like brothers. Like, they put something together. I found a brother and I put something together with him and stuff. It's a beautiful thing when you find that. What did you ask, though? I fucking forget. What was the original question? It was about shooting Clerks. Thank you. So, when I saw the scene in Shooting Clerks where I met Scott Mosier, I fucking cried. Because I was like, it was weird to be in a movie theater and see projected one of the most important moments of your life. Like, it was crazy. You know, you think about it a lot, going, fuck, if I hadn't met Mosier, what would have happened? And I saw it writ large by the kids in Scotland. You know, sitting in a movie theater in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, where I'd seen so many movies growing up as a kid, man. It was fucked up, to say the least. And as I sat up there watching it, I fell in love with those kids. Like, I was cheering them on and stuff. Anytime they needed money, sometimes I'd send them loot and stuff so they can keep going, make their flick. They made it by the seat of their pants. It's a low-budget effort and stuff. But it was always something that was going on across the sea, and who knows if we'd ever see it. I thought it was a nice enough idea that they were trying, but I didn't expect that it would ever come to fruition, or that I'd be sitting there in a fucking movie theater of my childhood watching my life up on the big screen. fell in love with it. If you get a chance to see Shooting Clerks, the boy's going to be putting it out on home video soon and stuff. It travels to festivals and whatnot. It'll empower you. It's an empowering little document for change, because you want, like, I watched the movie and at the end of it, I was like, fuck, I hope these kids do well, you know, and I know the fucking story. I was the kid and shit. So that's how good the flick is. It'll make you feel like you could try stuff, and you should try stuff. Everybody should try stuff in this room. Here, this is my fucking parting thoughts to you before we send you out into this good Comic-Con night and whatnot. You're all attracted to things. That's why we're here at Comic-Con. Things that make you happy, excited, fantasy worlds and stuff, preferable to the real world, writing, creativity, all that kind of stuff. If you're drawn to it, they call you fans. I read a lot of articles. We're like, the fans. You guys are the fans. The fans are at Comic-Con. The geeks are in full effect and shit like that. You know what a fan is? A fan is somebody that is on their way to making something. I've met many filmmakers in my life. I'm standing next to one of them here, and I've met them from all walks of life. Men, women, successful filmmakers, losers like me and shit like that. People that make dreams come true, make movies and shit. One thing universally true about all of these people, man, woman, doesn't matter what it is. There's only one thing that's the same for all of them. They love movies. They were huge fucking fans. They were the people that sat through the credits of a movie before Marvel put shit at the end of it. Like, they just sat there reading credits because they're drawn to it. It's a world they're drawn to and stuff like that. I want to do that. How do I get up on that screen and whatnot? So, you know, you got that in you. If you're here celebrating the popular arts, it's because on some level deep inside, you all want to be a part of the popular arts, and not in the way one normally is. Like, I'm a fan too. I go to the Marvel movies and shit like that. I never sit there and go like, let me make one, because they'd be like, fuck no. But I go and I enjoy them. I'm a fan of that sort of thing. But I also have another creative outlet where I could be a fan and watch that stuff. But over here, in my secret identity and stuff, I build stuff myself. I make things. I got stories that I want to fucking tell. Everyone in this room has a story to tell, or 10,000 stories to tell. Everyone in this room is a unique little content generator. Think of the lives you've lived that's different from that person, different from that person, different from this guy, this person, that woman, and whatnot. You have an original story to tell. Somebody asked me the other day, like, I got a kid in film school and stuff. I met him, said hello, and said, "You got any advice for the kid?" I said, absolutely. They're fucking waiting for you. They can't wait to fucking meet you in that business. You know why? Because they never met you yet, and you got something they fucking need so much. You have an original point of view. That's the gift everyone has, right? You have a distinctive take on the world that they've never heard before. And I know people talk about the movie business and say, oh, they just make sequels and remakes and shit like that. And I tell people, like, that's because they're waiting for you. They're waiting for you to get there and show them something fucking beautiful and original. Everybody can do that. Everybody in this room can take a shot at that. Some people sit there going, no, that's for other fucking people. Fuck you. Look at me. I'm the guy that made Clerks, so I know wherever I speak. If I had sat there and been like, that's for other fucking people, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now and stuff. Anybody can fucking do anything they want except fly without a jet. You know what I'm saying? Because the things we're talking about doing are creative things. If you like movies, if you like and learn about the people that make movies and read about behind the scenes and shit like that, guess what? You are a movie maker, man. You're a movie maker. You just haven't fucking made a movie yet. You're just like Scorsese. You're just like Quentin Tarantino, man. You're just like anybody. All those people would sit through credits and dream. Just take it the next step further. Before we come back to Comic-Con next year, use this fucking year to figure out what it is that you want to do, what dream you want to come true. These guys got to sit here, watch their movie play out in front of all these crowds. That's fruition of a dream. He had a dream and boom, took it all the way here to the audience. He knows he's fucking good at what he's doing. He's like, I'm fucking smart. I'm going to keep doing this shit. Am I right? I'm putting words in your mouth, but like, that's kind of right?
You say it much better than me.
Everybody could feel that way. If you feel any sort of pull to it, if you're sitting there going, I don't want to do that shit, then obviously you don't have to. But if you're sitting there and enjoying that shit and you feel a pull toward it, don't leave this world without doing fucking something creative, without trying something outside the box. You like movies, you like comics, you like stories. It's fun to read other people's comics, watch other people's movies and TV shows, but it's infinitely more fun to create your own and shit like that. And some people go, well, I can't do that, man, because I don't have talent. Fuck that. There's no such thing as talent in that capacity. Like, I don't believe in talent when it comes to being self-expressive or being fucking creative. When people use that word, like, oh, you're talented. So before I go to bed tonight, somebody's going to say to me, I promise you, maybe it's just my mom, but somebody's going to say to me, you're talented. Like, oh, the way you can stand there and talk, you're talented. And I'm always like, what? That's not talent. You think it's talent to stand up there and talk about my life? That just requires a memory, not talent. I'm just literally saying shit that happened, man. My day job don't require talent. You think it takes talent to stand on a fucking movie set with a backwards baseball cap and a trench coat and say nothing? Like, that's the opposite of fucking talent, man. I'll go you one step further, man. It don't take talent to do fucking movies in general at all. You think it takes talent to fucking stand on a fucking movie set all fucking surrounded by fake effects and be like, I'm Batman. Fucking Ben Affleck does it, so I know it don't take fucking talent. That is not to lower Ben, that is just to say, don't fucking let a word like talent stand between you wanting to do something and doing that fucking thing, man. You're just as talented. You know who's fucking talented? Who's really talented? Any people that make pretend fucking stories? That's fun. That's easy. Talent is whoever built this fucking room. You see how there are no beams holding up the fucking middle of the ceiling and yet it doesn't fall down and crush everybody? Whoever built this room is fucking talented, man. But telling stories, making shit up and whatnot, that's self-expression. Everybody in this room has the ability to do that. So over the course of the next year, figure out some fucking self-expression for you. I'm not talking about like jumping online and tweeting shit like Justice League suck. We all know that. Don't say it anymore. Get out there and fucking share of yourself, man. Tell them your point of view. Go with a story that you want to tell. Some people sit in movies, watch TV shows, and they get angry and shit. I do it differently. Don't fucking get angry. You want to do it differently, put a little energy into it and stuff like that. And do it yourself, man. That's how Seth Rogen, I once talked to him, I think last year on the IMD boat, man. And I was like, man, you got your fingers in everything, not in a dirty way, but you like doing a lot of work and shit like that. You always got projects going on. Like, what is that about? Like, how do you do it? And he goes, it's really simple. I just do things so someone else doesn't do it first and it sucks. And I was like, what a brilliant philosophy, man. I suggest everyone take a page out of that book, go out and fucking make something. Doesn't matter if it fucking sucks. That's subjective. You know what? We made Mallrats. Motherfuckers told me it sucked for like 10 years. And then 10 years later, people were like, I like that movie. And now fucking 25 years later, that's the movie most people talk to me about. They're like, what a triumph. I was like, triumph? Like, nobody saw it when it was in theaters. We made $2 million. They're like, I have it on DVD. It must have been a hit. And I was like, those things are not comparable. Time heals all wounds. People don't remember shit like that. You know who remembers Mallrats flopped? Me. You know who doesn't? The fucking audience and shit like that. The important thing is to make the thing and put it out there, whatever the thing is. I'm not talking about, it doesn't have to be just movies and shit like that. Knit a blanket, make a dog walking service, make fucking cupcakes, whatever. You sit there going like, I want to try it, man, but like, I don't know, I might suck at it. Guess what, man? There's no such thing as sucking at it or something like that. There's no such, people are afraid of failure in this life. Don't be fucking afraid of failure. There's no such fucking thing as failure, man. Failure is literally just success training. I know that sounds like a cat poster, but it's fucking true, man. Don't be afraid to fail at things. I stand before you the patron saint of cinematic fucking failure, and I'm still doing this job 25 years later because it's all about the dream of like, maybe the next one will be different. Maybe the next one will be this, man. And I hope I dream like that up until the day I really fucking die. But I'm so glad that I didn't, because I got to come back and hang out with you good people one more time. Hopefully many more times. But we're going to get out of here. Before we get out of here, I just want to take a moment to give a shout out to somebody who was very special to me who passed away. We lost a fantastic human being that if you didn't know about him, I just want to put him on your radar so you can learn about him. Sometimes we're too late in life to learn about great people until they're gone, and this might be a situation for some people here, although a lot of folks at Comic-Con would know the name. Jon Schnepp passed away fairly recently. Those applause are because we love Schnepp, not because Schnepp Schnepp passed away. Schnepp passed away very suddenly. If you don't know him, he worked with Adult Swim for years. He's a fixture in this community. He's a guy that belongs here. Schnepp should be here right now. The fact that he's not has made it a kind of difficult con for some people, because he was a true believer, an absolute true believer, man. He made a documentary called The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened. If you've never seen it, it was a documentary made for this audience. Nobody was ever going to make a documentary about a fucking movie that didn't get made. But Schnepp had a vision quest, and he's like, no, I would like to get to the bottom of this. He crowdsourced it a bit, and he went out there and made, honestly, one of the greatest documentaries I've ever seen. Yes, I'm in it, but that's not why I like it. It got to the root of the story. It got to the heart of the matter. He was a wonderful human being who was a big fan of this place, and a big fan of humanity in general, and very fucking creative. He died rather suddenly. He had a stroke, if I understand it correctly, and then didn't really recover from it. He leaves behind his girlfriend Holly, who's his partner and producer on that movie and other things in life. So as we go out and enjoy, she has a GoFundMe. You can look online, just enter Jon Schnepp, or look at my Twitter. I think I posted it the other day. There's a GoFundMe. They're going to need help with all the hospital bills and stuff. But as you go about your Comic-Con and enjoy it, and you should enjoy it, celebrate the popular arts. We're all alive, and that's a great fucking thing. But let's take a moment before we get out of here. Just a moment of silence for one of us. Somebody he didn't get to come this year, and he would have been here. I was going to go out on a pitch with Schnepp about a series, basically a series that was kind of like the Superman movie, where he just dug up everything he could on these amazing movies that were about to happen but didn't happen. So he's got a lot of footage that he shot, and he was in a bunch of it himself, and we're going to try to take it out there and turn it into a real show, man, to keep his memory alive, keep his legacy going. But before we get out of here, a lot of you didn't know him, but he was you. He was me. Schnepp was absolutely fucking one of us. Let's take just a moment of silence for a really wonderful human being, and a good guy. There's so fucking few of those in the world, and he was such a good person. Just a moment of silence for the great Jon Schnepp. I've been doing this shit for 23 years, not here in Hall H, but I've been doing shows here at Comic-Con, coming for 23 years. I'm not bullshitting when I say this. This was hands down the most special Hall H I've ever enjoyed. Thank you all for being here, ladies and gentlemen. Go out and enjoy Comic-Con. Buy Hollyweed, please, for my birthday. Give it up for Tom and Grant and Los Popped.